Swami Sri Yukteswar, Beloved Master, Paramahansa Yogananda, Saints of all religions, I humbly bow to you all. Bless our service. Help us to calm our minds. Help us to open our hearts. Help us to attune ourselves to Thee ever more deeply. Om. Peace. Amen. I want only Thee, Lord, Thee, only Thee. 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 My Lord, I will be Thine always. My Lord, I will be Thine always. I may go far, farther than the stars. I may go far, farther than the stars. But I will be Thine always. My Lord, I will be Thine Devotees may come, devotees may go. Devotees may come, devotees may go. But I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. I may go far, farther than the stars. I may go far, farther than the stars, but I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. Devotees may come, devotees may go. Devotees may come, devotees may go. But I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. We'll meditate now. Check your spine, make sure it's upright. Check your body, make sure it's relaxed. Feet all the way up through the legs, arms, face. Follow the breath. Feel the breath in the nose, inhalations and exhalations, watching it, letting it find its own rhythm. And try to feel the breath all the way to the top of the nose. At that point, behind the point between the eyebrows, feel the breath awakening that center, awakening that awareness of energy, light, joy. And when you can, switch your attention from the breath to that point of light and joy. Just feel yourself becoming absorbed in that energy, that light, that joy. Let it permeate your body, your mind, your soul. Now, for the last part of our meditation, visualize yourself as an instrument, a channel, an avenue where that light, that joy, that peace can flow through you and reaching out to all those whose your life interacts with, your family, your work, your friends. You're all being blessed by that light. Om, 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 Om.
The affirmation for today from Swamiji's book Affirmations for Self-Healing is on service. And let's affirm together loudly, I will serve God through others.
I will serve God through others.
And by my service to Him,
By my service to Him,
release the hold the ego has on me.
release the hold the ego has on me.
I am free in God.
I am free in God.
In God, I am free.
In God, I am free.
In a regular voice now, I will serve God through others. And by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Little softer now. I will serve God through others. And by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Let us close our eyes, uplift the gaze at the point between the eyebrows. We are going to whisper now, taking it even more deeper. I will serve God through others. And by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Now mentally feeling the vibration behind each word that we are going to recite at our superconscious, Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Repeat mentally after me. I will serve God through others. By my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Now let us mentally do this prayer. All that I do, Lord, I do for love of Thee. Accept the flowers of my service to Thee as I place them on Thy altar of omnipresence. Om. Shanti. Good morning, everyone. All right, Happy Faces morning is up, and we have with us today Nayaswami Nitai. Welcome, Nayaswami Nitai, to our Worli Center.
First visit to the Worley Center. I think it's my third visit to Mumbai, the ashram out in Mud Island.
Nayaswami Nitai is walking through and experiencing his discipleship for 50 years now. And it is wise to say that one of his attunement or one of his service to master comes through education and with being with the children. And he's been the director, the international director worldwide for Education for Life, and he's the co-founder for the first Education for Life school, which started in 1972 at Ananda Village. So today we have a privilege to have a wonderful friend and a disciple and a devotee of Master with us, and a Guru Bhai. Swami Nitai, please come and share the inspirations with us.
Okay, good. Well, it's a delight to be here. I was just getting ready before the talk, and they gave me the little room next door and turned on the AC for me and all things. And then I looked out and I thought, wait a minute. I live up near in Gurgaon, near New Delhi. I said, to have fresh ocean air is a real treat. So I want to throw open the windows and just enjoy this. Fresh air in New Delhi is rare. I think it could be a big business for Mumbai to bottle air and just ship it to New Delhi. So I'm going to start with a reading from an unusual scripture from the book Education for Life. It has been a scripture for me in the very real sense. This is actually from the preface for the book. From the book, probably very few people in this room have read that book. People think, "Oh, we have." Okay, anybody else? I know you have 3. Yeah, it's not a well-read book of Swami Kriyananda's because people think, "Oh, I'm not a parent," or "I'm not his teacher. I'll read something else." But it really actually is a, in a very real way, it's a kind of a synopsis of the spiritual path. And in reading how it's applied to children, we really deepen our own awareness of these central truths. So I encourage you to not only read it, but to ask the publication department to reprint it so we have copies available. But, okay. The title of this book can be understood in 2 ways, both of them intentionally so. Primarily, my purpose has been to recommend a system of education that will prepare children for meeting life's challenges and not only fit them for employment or for intellectual pursuits. I've also wanted, however, to help the reader to see the whole of life beyond the years spent in school as education. For if indeed, as most people deeply believe, life has purpose and meaning, then its goal must be to educate us ever more fully to that meaning. And the true goal of the education we receive during our school years must be to help prepare us for that lifelong learning process. So I've been giving little presentations the last couple of days out at the ashram on Mud Island and talking about, so what are some of these lessons? What are some of these life lessons that are not only there for children, but they're for everybody of all ages? And one of the ones we focused on was learning to tell a difference between excitement and enthusiasm. And you think, oh, Well, that's an interesting thing. What's the difference between excitement and enthusiasm? We don't usually think about that, unfortunately, because people mix up the two a lot. They think I'm excited, therefore I must be happy, and then crash. If you're 4 years old, you run into some furniture and get hurt. But if you're 40 years old, you run into some life situation that doesn't work for you, and your excitement gets extinguished very quickly. Enthusiasm, on the other hand, is rooted in this wonderful. It comes from a Greek word, and the central part of that word is theos, enthusiasm, and theos, and means filled, aligned with the divine. And when we have that as an essence basis for our energy and our putting things out, there is no crash. It's just a continuous stream of energy. It's very calm, very focused, and goes out. So if you can learn that at 5 years old, which is possible, because we watched it happen, you're way ahead in life. If you didn't get to go to an Education for Life school and you didn't have a teacher that taught those kinds of things, which I didn't have, then if you're lucky, you start to learn them in your early 20s. If otherwise, maybe it's 30 or 40, 50, but it can be a long time. And it's such a central way of being able to appreciate life. Why not learn it early? There are other major life lessons. I was listening to Swamiji talk the other day about seeing non-village World Brotherhood colonies, places like you have out on the Mud Island. You have a beautiful little community there. These spiritual communities are like laboratories for testing out spiritual principles. It's great to see a spiritual principle on the page and kind of think, oh, that sounds good, or maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. But when you have a setting where people are trying to live these teachings, not only a couple hours on special occasions, but in daily life, when you go to shop in the market, when you go out to help in the garden, or you pick up your child from school or whatever, that in a spiritual community, that's the bottom line. That's why people join a spiritual community. They want to have that support system 24/7. And you see people trying to live these teachings. And Swami was pointing out, he said, well, one of the things that's been easy to see, I think his talk was from probably the 90s, or maybe around the turn of this millennium. But so one of the things that's very easy to see after a while is who grows, which people are moving forward on the path, and which people are kind of get stuck or get off on a sidetrack and get lost. He said one of the main things that he'd seen was what is the priority in those people's life. If the priority is themselves, they get stuck. They don't go forward. If their priority is serving other people first, looking at what can I do to help other people, and then secondarily, about themselves, they continue to grow and expand. He said that's an incredibly important point, and it's something that we can learn as devotees, and we can practice and experiment with and see. But these are the kind of life lessons that Swami's talking about in this preface to the book that we all can learn from, even if we're farther along in years. I was thinking about, so I want to get into the idea that life really is a school, that we are here to learn lessons. So I was thinking of a little visualization. So I want to visualize a person, maybe they're in their 20s, okay, just starting off in their adult life. And they see a advertisement for a place called, I found one on the internet, Carpe Diem Life Academy. Carpe diem is Latin for seize the day. Yes, we want to, today is going to be, I'm going to have fun today. I'm going to enjoy it. And they think about this. They think, they look at it and they say, look at, they have, says they have outdoor activities. You get to meet new people. There's adventure and there's good food. I think I'm going to sign up. I'm going to sign up and go to this place. So they go into the check-in, but they got there a little bit late. So all they got to do was they got ushered to their room, and they were sharing a room with somebody, and the person was already asleep. And so as they were getting ready to go to sleep, they realized the person was snoring, and it was very hard to sleep. And so they had a very restless night. and they were thinking, this means meeting new people? This is what I'm going to do? And then they got up for breakfast, and they went down to breakfast, and they were all ready for a nice breakfast. They served sprouts and carrots. And it was like, that's the good food I signed up for? And then they go and say, okay, well, maybe outdoor activities. I've seen things like they have zip lines some places where you can go zipping through the trees and stuff. And you go outside, and they say, here's our outdoor adventure, and there's a swing, and it just goes back and forth in this swing. And finally, let's see, the last one was the adventure. Oh yeah, adventure. And they're thinking, okay, wait, what do we get to do for adventure? And they hand them a little journal and say, okay, I want you to reflect on your own inner experiences that you've been going through. That's adventure? And by lunchtime, they're ready to sign out. I came to the wrong place. I do not want this. I'm going to go find another place. Well, the reason for the little metaphor is, unfortunately, that's kind of how we usually approach our lives. We have a set of expectations. We have a set of things that we think we should happen in our lives, and we get disappointed. We get disappointed because this didn't work, that didn't work, or maybe it worked for a while, then it collapsed, and we're all the time saying, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" So that brings us to the secret of why we have a guru, why we have a spiritual life. What we find out as we go along the path is there's a higher wisdom. There's a higher wisdom than what Swami talked about as the ego. We all have our egos. We all, have our little self-definitions that we want to continue. And if we approach life from that perspective, it's just a continuous jostling of disappointments and having to reset our expectations and not being satisfied with what comes along. And gradually, we start to see that there is a different way to approach life. And that is being able to see our life as a very special, you can call it a lesson plan, because we're using an education metaphor. A good teacher creates a lesson plan for her students that match the students' needs. It's one of the reasons I'm here in India right now. I'm up working with the public schools in India because that's not the approach most schools, not only in India, but around the world use. Most teachers set up, what is the curriculum and how do I have to, what curriculum am I supposed to teach to this child? So it's curriculum oriented, not child oriented, and it creates a lot of problems. But if we approach this other way, say a really good teacher would say, okay, the curriculum is we're going to follow basically, but I'm going to adapt that curriculum to this particular student. I'm going to give them a lesson that they can really understand from their own experience and really get excited about growing from it and stuff like that. That's kind of the essence of an education for life school. But so if we realize that we actually have a really good teacher, we actually have the best teacher of all. We have Divine Mother. And Divine Mother has a lot of homework to do because she's got a lot of students, but she's amazingly efficient and amazingly creative. And she's able to come up with a special lesson plan for every single soul in the universe for every single day. And that lesson plan has a particular purpose. The particular purpose is to help that soul grow spiritually, help that soul move forward on the spiritual path. And she will pick out experiences that are specially designed to help that individual learn that lesson. Maybe it wouldn't help the next person, the same experience, but she knows us so well that she knows what is it that we need. So there is this, and that lesson plan has been coming to us ever since we were born, or even from past lives. You can go back further. The problem was, we're like the person that went to Carpe Diem Academy, and we keep saying, I don't want that. I don't want the carrots. I don't want that roommate. I don't want whatever it is. And we keep ignoring the lesson plan. We keep saying, this isn't my idea. This isn't my school. The journey of being a devotee has to do with learning to say yes to the lesson plan. When I first met Swami Kriyananda back in the 70s, early 70s, his theme at that point was called Say Yes to Life. So I've been hearing that for over 50 years, say yes to life. and with deeper and deeper understanding of what that meant. But in this context, saying yes to life means when something comes into our life, being open to it, not rejecting it, to seeing that, oh, I'm supposed to expand to figure out a way to say yes to this experience. Maybe it's a new experience. Maybe it's one I haven't had before. Maybe it's one I didn't want. Maybe it's something that I'm afraid of. I've been pushing away. But when it comes, we want to be cultivating this idea that it's time. It's the right timing. This lesson plan is what I'm supposed to have at this particular time in my life, even though it looks hard, which it often does. Divine Mother is not against tough lessons, not against what sometimes in the West they call it tough love, but just the fact that this person is very stubborn, myself included, and sometimes in order to get my attention, we got to have a little wake up call, and that wake up call can be jolting. It can come in the very very strange ways, and come with financial difficulties. It can come with family problems. It can come with physical health. All these different things are avenues where we can be offered these lessons. So to be a good student is to cultivate our receptivity to the teacher, and to learn to appreciate this amazing teacher that we have. And of course, the teacher is personified for us in the form of our guru. Today, I know some people are taking discipleship ceremony, which is an incredibly special day, because it kind of is one of the turning points. It finally says, oh, I'm going to try to say yes in this particular way, not just kind of a general yes. I'm going to try to say yes to a particular guru, a particular line of gurus, and try to attune myself to that. The opportunity is to be able to gradually and this is not something I've been at it over 50 years. I'm a slow learner. Some people can do it a lot faster, but just to be able to just realize on deeper and deeper levels that, oh, all I have to do is work with this divine intervention in my life. If you can get to the point where you wake up in the morning and your first thought is, okay, Master, what do you have in store for me today? What's my lesson plan today? And my job is to say yes to it. My job is to work it. Now, it doesn't mean to be passive. Sometimes you think, oh, it's just me. I don't do anything. And Swami Kriyananda also modeled for all of us, me in particular, from my perspective, that being on the path is not for low energy people. He had more energy than anybody I've met in this incarnation. Just how he approached life. He wrote all those books. He was always had these projects in his mind. So he was anything but passive. But he was active in attunement with the way that his master was offering him an opportunity. He put him, when they were together on this plane, Master gave him certain guidelines of, you learn to write, edit, speak in public, and then implanting that seed of World Brotherhood colonies as kind of a core part of his mission. And so all of Swami Kriyananda's energy, it took enormous energy to manifest all those things, a mind-boggling amount of energy. I was telling some people this story in the very beginning. So he had this, it was put in him by Master, the idea that World Brotherhood colonies were the wave of the future, to establish spiritual communities and help people appreciate the power and the opportunity of spiritual community was essential to what his mission was. And that he received that in 1949. If you know the history of this story, there was a garden party in Los Angeles, and Master gave this incredibly powerful speech, putting this idea into the ether. Swami kept his focus. He vowed that he would manifest that. It took 20 years, from 1949 to 1969, before things focused so that he could make that happen. But then he did. He'd been a monk most of his life. He didn't have a lot of savings in terms of money. Didn't have a lot of assets. But he went forth and put down the down payment on this land up in the mountains in Northern California. And there was about 70 acres, I think it was. So not a huge amount of land, but from his perspective, it was a huge investment. And then, but he had two kind of conflicting goals. One goal was to provide a place for a retreat for adults, kind of a place, a yoga center in the woods where the people could come and experience quiet. And the other one was to found these World Brotherhood colonies, these spiritual communities, of which children are the central ingredient. That's what makes a World Brotherhood colony different than a monastery or a convent, is children. How do you incorporate children into this whole experience? And I've told this story a couple of times, but there was this one incident that kind of brought it to a culmination. The adults were inside trying to meditate inside the beautiful temple that was up there. And all of a sudden there was a scrambling on the outside, and all the kids were trying to crawl up the outsides of the building to see how far high up they could get. And of course, with their laughter and their energy outside. And you could see both energies were good. The children weren't being bad. They were being good children. They were doing what children are supposed to do. But in that context, we went opposite the idea that the adults were going to meditate. And shortly after that, Swami again went out, and this time he found a much bigger piece of property about 5 miles away that was for sale. Well, at that point, all of his funds were invested in the meditation retreat, and he had a mortgage to pay on the meditation retreat. But he felt the inner guidance that this was the place. This was going to be the place where he could serve his guru by taking on this idea of founding World Brotherhood colonies. And he committed. He made the commitment for the land without any money. and then for the next 20, 25 years, it was a monthly challenge to pay off those loans. And he bore the brunt of it for the first 5 or 10 years. And then the rest of us figured out how to help him and stuff. And it started to move, but enormous. So anyway, just to tell you that story, that working with what does Divine Mother want me to do today will not be a low energy involvement. Divine Mother knows that it takes very high energy to move spiritually, and she's going to challenge us on those levels. And we have to be willing to be stretched. We have a little self-definition at this point in our lives of I am this kind of person, I do this kind of thing. And part of the spiritual path is going to be expanding. And our willingness to expand is one of the key. That's our what we can do. We have the free will to say, okay, expand me, take me. One of the first things when I came to Ananda, I was, what do I say? My worst fear in life was speaking in public. The thought of speaking in public was just anathema to me. I thought, why would I ever want to do that? Anyway, and so Swami Kriyananda met me, and within 6 months, he said, Nitai, you should start giving Sunday services, which was like, oh God, how could I possibly do that? And but you know, I was trying to explore what it meant to have a spiritual teacher, and I was like, I have to say, try to say yes. And I still remember those first couple of Sunday services. I was so nervous. I was so tense. The services were at the first property which Swami had brought, which was back in the woods, and I was living down 5 miles away, down the road of the second place, which is where the school was and the children. I would give the Sunday service at the meditation retreat, go off, change clothes as fast as I could, and start running. And I would run 5 miles down to the road just to work off all that nervous energy. But fortunately, gradually it became less and less of an issue. But that was one of my first things to try. Okay, get rid of that shyness, that nervousness. That was another thing. I was reading a list of qualities that Master put together. It's in a booklet of his called The Psychological Chart. It's not very well known, but it was something from his time in Ranchi back in 1916, 17. And he lists the qualities that go along with being sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. And I was reading it through and going through it, and I got down to tamasic and it said shyness. And I thought, what? Shyness is tamasic? And so I had to learn to work on that one. So anyway, but just we'll all have our own unique journey because we all have different little kinks and things that have to be worked out. But the more we can say yes, the more we can just realize that okay, this my first goal in life is to say yes to my guru. My first goal in life is to say yes to this spiritual journey that I'm being taken along, and gradually realize that that's all that life's about. Life is a school. Life in the very main part of the way. The problem is the diploma is for spiritual realization, and most people don't know that. They think that the purpose of life is physical comfort or a good bank account or all these other little things that only distract us from that ultimate goal and can get in the way of it if we don't realize maybe they're stepping stones along the way. Maybe getting financial security is a nice way to get your energy up so you can move forward. But if you stop there, you're going to be very disappointed at the end of life because you missed the whole end of the book. So as we go through it, we want to. Our job is to cultivate our openness to the guru because the guru is going. That's all the guru is going to do is say, "Okay, your next step is this. Can you do it? Can you say yes to it?" And we have to say, maybe, and we go on. Okay, thank you. What's the next step?
We'll do the aarti.
Okay, great.
Unless we have any questions, we can take. Can we take questions?
If you, I don't know if anybody has a question, but if you do, yeah. Okay.